You listen to stuff, and if you listen to shit enough, you will be fluent in the language miraculously. Okay, hello everyone, it's me, and as you can see, I am not going to work because I have finished my work already, but I'm actually waiting for a friend because he said he would lend me a book, and he's not home yet, so I'm waiting for him at his garage. So until he comes back, I have some time, so I decided I will make the video for today. And for the first time, I'm not actually driving, which means that I can actually look at the camera and I can gestures and make the video. Also, I can't use driving and distraction as excuse for my poor talking in front of a camera. So there's that. Anyway, so without any further ado, what I want to talk about today. So a few days ago, I have a meeting with a couple of my mentees. Yes, I do have a couple of mentees. They are some kids, some people that are learning language seriously, and they asked me to mentor them. So yeah, I said yes. I do that for free, so I'm not taking any money from them, and just out of pure passion, I guess, and yeah, just spreading love. So yeah, don't expect me to be selling any course or anytime soon. Yeah. Anyway, so one of the kids actually asked me. He's been reading up on a system called ALG, and he asked me if I have any thought about that. And oh boy, I have a lot to say about ALG. So yeah, I talked a lot, and I decided that, hey, I should make a video about that. So yeah, and here I am. So for the context, for those who do not know, what is ALG? ALG stands for Automatic Language Growth. And it's basically a system that says you listen to stuff, and if you listen to shit enough, you will be fluent in the language miraculously. Yeah, I'm kidding. It's it's basically, you can sum up as that. But to be fair, it's a system that says that if you consume a language under certain specific conditions for enough hours, you will pick up the language. And they justify it with the analogy or example of babies, where when babies are born, they don't know any language, any system, their brain barely work, and as they listen, they just pick up the language. And of course, I mean, there are so many things wrong with that that statement, but argument. But I'm not going to go into that, not now, not in this video. So so what do I think about ALG? Sorry, ALG. Yeah, I always kept confusing with AGL. That's one of the projects I'm working on. But yeah, ALG. What do I think about ALG? I don't think it's a scam. I don't think it's fake. I just think it's a waste of time. And in some cases, that's probably worse than scam, I guess. But yeah, so and also disclaimer, right? Everything I'm saying about ALG, they're my opinion. They're what I think about the system. So if you disagree, please let me know, that you disagree, and let me know why too, and maybe you will convince me. But until now, no one had convinced me yet, and I will explain why I think that it's a huge waste of time, and why I think that I don't recommend that particular system. So let's start with the whole idea of learning the language by listening. So a good analogy will be ALG is like the League of Legends of language learning. You think after a few thousand hours you'll get good, then you realize after a few 100,000 hours you're still stuck in silver. So yeah, that's pretty much how you feel like when you are learning through ALG, which leads to what I was talking about the other day in the other videos. I'll put it up somewhere here. That there's a difference between a language learning system and a language learning supplements. A language learning system is basically a system that can help you learn language from 0 to a point where you can respectively speak, or understand the language. And you can just follow that particular thing. It might not be optimized. There could be some issue, but you can learn a language just through that. And there are something called the language supplements. And these are activities that supplements your language learning, help you make your language learning journey better and faster. But on their own, they can't stand themselves as something that can teach you a language from scratch. For example, flashcard. If you don't do anything at all, you just from 0, you just start by memorizing flashcards. Will you know a lot of words in a language? You will, but will you know the language? Hell no. Same thing with watching movies, watching anime, for example. And you watch animes from 0. After 5 years of watching anime every day, you will not be miraculously speaking Japanese. Not to mention fluent Japanese. But if you are learning a language and then you do flashcards, you expose yourself to different medias of on the target languages, then sure, it can accelerate your learning by a lot. And for me, ALG is basically the supplement. It's one of those things that is very valuable if you're using alongside with your actual learning system. But on its own, I disagree that it is qualified as a system. And for one reason, one of the reasons is that it's not tested enough. I have never seen proof of anyone that became fluent in a language purely from ALG. And that's the thing. It's one analogy that I like to use is when you're asking a Southeast Asian people about ghost. If you ask them, do they believe in ghosts? They'll say yes, they believe in ghosts. Have they seen ghosts before? No, but they know an aunt or an auntie that knows someone who had seen ghosts before. And that is what usually talking with a ALG zealot sounds like. They really believe in their system, but they themselves usually are not fluent. But then they know, or they have heard someone, they have seen someone who became fluent with that before, with just ALG before. So yeah, and that's one of the reasons I felt I don't buy this. I don't buy into this system. And secondly, before the second part, actually, one more thing is that I think one of the right now mainstream one is it's called Dreaming Spanish. It's the ALG method for Spanish. I think it's probably maybe the only commercially available. I might be wrong here, but the most popular one around. And you if the system is so good at learning language, why there's only Spanish, right? Why can't it be tailored for other languages too? There's a lot of questions there. But even for people that had spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on ALG, Dreaming Spanish, I don't really know anyone that became fluent. Well, when I say fluent, because I put a lot of emphasis on speaking when learning language is concerned. And the reason for that is because when someone say they want to learn a language, I don't think they're talking about the fact that they want to read Shakespeare in that language. They are talking about they want to sit and talk to someone from that country, or they want to be able to communicate, say whatever they want to say, right? I think so. That's why I put a lot of emphasis on the talking. And I don't really know anyone that actually are fluent in the language, especially speaking, after spending hundreds and hundreds of hours on ALG or Dreaming Spanish in this case. And one more thing is that you have to remember that Dreaming Spanish is catered to a lot of English speaker. In fact, it's catered to English speakers because the UI and everything is all in English. And if you are speaking English, if you can speak English, you already have an edge in learning Spanish. Because Spanish is one of those languages that is very easy for English speakers to learn. Most vocabularies are very extremely similar. The system of the language is also very similar. Sure, you can say there are genders and conjugation and all, but at its core, even the way you structure the sentence and all, it's very similar. So if you know English, you already have an advantage over, say, a Chinese person trying to learn Spanish. So, and So are you really learning from zero? That's debatable. So there are a lot of small nuances like that. And this one guy that is like, basically he's like the champion of ALG. He's like this guy, who's learning Thai. He lives in Thailand. He has a Thai wife for many years, and he swears by ALG for Thai language. I listened to him speak Thai, and I thought to myself, if that's the level it gets you after living, marrying to a Thai person and using this method for this many years, just go to school. Just go to school, man. Just like 1 year, you'll get to the same level, And that's the issue I have. And I can say that because I know Thai. My Thai is almost native level. Not my first language, but yeah, I know Thai. So yeah, and one of these days I'll prove to you guys that I know all these languages that I claim to know. But that's the main reason. But second thing is on a more objective side is that it's so difficult to find a curated materials to set yourself up to start using these methods because of how specific it like the condition needs to be. Like for example, you need to make a listening content that you understand at least 95%. And just preparing these contents to get ready for you to start learning, that's already a chore. And it's not even feasible, in my opinion. And we're talking like English and Spanish and stuff. Like try learning other languages, like try learning Japanese from zero if you are someone who is not familiar with the Japanese grammar system. Try learning Icelandic just by listening for hundreds of hours. Heck, like get wrecked, rip bozo, try learn Finnish with like over 16 cases, usable cases, commonly used cases, and I don't know, hundreds of other cases maybe. But yeah, try that, and if you can learn like these languages, well, reasonably, then maybe we can talk again. But until then, it's like, I just feel like this is just way too much of a, water follow fish flows kind of thing. So yeah, and this is actually the more objective side of it, why I'm not buying into this particular system. Yeah, and so yeah, so these are my thoughts on the ALG. I mean, I have a lot more things to say, but I'm trying to not be too harsh on it. So what's my conclusion on this? I do not recommend it. Really, I know a lot of other YouTubers and content makers, when they talk about ALG, they talk like they like to slow tiptoes around eggshells, and they just they don't want to insult anyone or they don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. But no, for me, it's like, if you really want to do it, if you want to waste your time, by all means, I'm not stopping you. Most of you are adults here. But do I personally recommend it? Hell no. Hell no. It's like, you just don't waste your time. Time is really, really precious. If you really, really want to spend 1,000 hours, I will tell you, go to the least optimized traditional learning class, okay, once or twice a week, and consistently study 1 hour a day. Okay, do your homework, do your review, do only 1 hour a day, do it every day. After 1,000 hours, you will be in a much higher level than someone who's spending time just listening. And it's not even like passive listening. You have to do active listening, apparently, according to them, right? If you have to spend 3 hours listening a day, yeah, imagine how much, learning you could do, how much like progress you can make studying 3 hours a day. Just stop ALG and go do something else. Do 3 hours, you can do half of that. And yeah, that's just my take on it. So yeah, if someone want to prove me wrong, yeah, you have to show me a lot of proofs and evidence to change my mind. But well, until then, I guess I will still be talking shit about ALG. So yeah, if it hurts your feeling, well, too bad. Yeah, I don't know. go drink milk or something. But anyway, so that's all I have to say. And if you want to, you know, hear about, you know, my advice on how to start a language, or if you want to see what I think about Duolingo, yeah, I'll put the video somewhere, just look at it. Okay, all right, anyway, good night, go away, bye.